Ever pondered over the idea of two halves of the same soul split into two separate beings, mirroring each other's desires and shadows? This question is not as whimsical as it may seem on the surface. It taps into a deep and powerful concept that has been part of the human narrative for centuries, a concept known as twin flames. This belief, which is as intricate as it is compelling, proposes that each of us, in our deepest essence, houses a counterpart, a mirror soul, if you will, that reflects our most profound desires and our most daunting fears. To truly grasp this concept, picture the soul as a radiant, celestial body, brimming with light and energy. In its initial form, this body is whole and complete. But then, in a moment of cosmic drama, it splits into two separate yet inseparable entities. These newly formed beings, each carrying half of the original soul, are cast into the universe, destined to navigate the complexities of existence separately, yet interconnectedly. These two entities, or twin flames as they are referred to, mirror each other in the most profound sense. Their dreams, aspirations, fears, and challenges are reflections of each other. It's almost as if they are two sides of the same coin, different and distinct, but intrinsically linked. Having a twin flame is not akin to having a clone or a doppelganger. Rather, it's like possessing a mirror that reflects your innermost self to you. Your twin flame does not just mimic your personality or your physical. Instead, this spiritual counterpart reflects your innermost desires and your deepest fears, those elements of your being that are typically hidden beneath layers of consciousness. When you meet your twin flame, the experience is said to be unlike any other. It transcends the boundaries of the physical and the mundane, catapulting you into a realm where emotions and sensations are amplified. It's an overwhelming connection that feels both intimately familiar and profoundly exhilarating. The meeting of twin flames is akin to looking into a mirror where your deepest fears and desires are echoed back to you. This encounter serves as a catalyst, a journey of self-discovery and personal growth, a journey that is as challenging as it is rewarding. The belief of twin flames doesn't end at the encounter, however. It states that before the union of the twin flames, a period of separation often occurs. This phase is usually regarded as significant, as it serves as a period of transformation and growth. During this time, each twin flame navigates the world independently, accumulating wisdom and experiences that will eventually contribute to their reunion. It is worth noting that the journey with a twin flame is not always smooth. It is marked by periods of doubt, fear, and uncertainty. However, these moments of tribulation often pave the way for growth and enlightenment. Despite the challenges, the bond between twin flames remains unbroken, their connection transcending the boundaries of time and space. The beauty of the twin flame concept lies in its ability to inspire us to explore our inner world. It prompts us to confront our fears, embrace our desires, and strive for personal growth. It's a journey that encourages introspection and self-discovery, pushing us to transcend our limitations and evolve. But remember, the journey with a twin flame is not always smooth and includes an inevitable separation phase, serving as a period of personal growth and preparation for union. This is the irony of the twin flame journey. The quest for unity often begins with separation, but it's this very separation that serves as the foundation for growth, self-discovery, and ultimately union. A common aspect of twin flame relationships is the dynamic of the runner and the chaser, reflecting the intense nature of the connection. This dynamic is much more than a simple push and pull. It's a dance of the souls, a duet of destinies intertwined in a cosmic rhythm of passion and fear. Here, one twin, termed as the runner, may retreat. This retreat isn't about escaping, but rather a pull from the overwhelming nature of the profound connection. It's an instinctive reaction, a primal defense mechanism that sets in when confronted with something so powerful and transformative. Within this dance, the runner isn't merely running away, they back, subconsciously creating a distance that allows them the space to internalize, process, and understand this extraordinary bond. It's like a wave retreating from the shore, gathering force and momentum before it surges forward with a renewed vigor. Overwhelmed, they may turn away, but their soul recognizes the bond, the shared destiny, and the undeniable attraction that exists between them and their twin flame. Now, let's turn our focus to the other half of this dynamic, the chaser. The chaser isn't merely a pursuer, but rather a beacon of hope, a torchbearer, illuminating the path towards union. Driven by a sense of familiarity, a longing that transcends physical barriers, they relentlessly pursue. But it's not a wild goose chase. It's a spiritual journey, a pilgrimage towards love and understanding, an odyssey to the very core of their being. Their pursuit is fueled by the deep-seated knowledge that they share a connection that precedes them, a bond that has been woven into very fabric of their souls. It's their love, their desire, their longing that transcends physical plane and exists in the realm of the spiritual, the divine. Despite the struggles, despite the pain, they continue to chase, for they know that the love they share with their twin flame is worth the journey. This dynamic is not about fear and desire alone. It's an echo of the self, a mirror reflecting their deepest desires and darkest. It's not just an exploration of the relationship between the two halves of a soul, but an inward journey, a voyage towards self-discovery, self-understanding, and personal growth. It's a process of unearthing, confronting, accepting, and ultimately loving every facet of their being, including the parts they may not be fond of. This dynamic forces them to confront their own shadows, to face their own demons, while teaching them to love unconditionally, not just their twin flame, but themselves too. This intense dynamic, though challenging, is a necessary part of the twin flame journey. It's a dance that must be danced, a song that must be sung, a story that must be told. It's a trial by fire, a test of strength, resilience, and the power of love. But remember, this dynamic is merely one of the 7 tests that twin flames must pass before their union. The first 3 tests involve self-awareness, self-love, and the ability to confront one's own fears and desires. These 3 dimensions of our being fundamentally shape human existence and guide us on our journey towards our ultimate purpose. They are not merely tests. They are the basic building blocks for personal growth, self-improvement, and self-actualization. Self-awareness, the first of the 3 pillars, demands an in-depth exploration of oneself. It's an introspective journey into the deep abyss of our minds, where we encounter our most intimate emotions, desires, and shadows. It's an expedition to the inner self, the core being, the center of our existence. This test is not just about understanding, it's about accepting and embracing oneself with all the complexities and contradictions. It's about being true to oneself, about being authentic. In the labyrinth of life, self-awareness is the compass that guides us to our true north. It helps us recognize our strengths and weaknesses, our potentials and limitations, our achievements and failures. Moreover, it empowers us to make informed decisions, to choose our path, to set our goals, and to determine our destiny. It's an enlightening experience that illuminates our path and leads us towards self-discovery. The second test, self-love, is another cornerstone of personal growth. It's about embracing our imperfections, cherishing our uniqueness, and adoring our individuality. It's about acknowledging our worth, respecting our value, and appreciating our contributions. It's about reinforcing our self-esteem, boosting our self-confidence, and nurturing our self-respect. It's about cultivating a healthy relationship with ourselves, based on love, respect, and acceptance. Self-love is the armor that protects us from the arrows of criticism, judgment, and disapproval. It's the shield that defends us from the onslaught of negativity, cynicism, and pessimism. It's the fortress that safeguards us from the storms of doubt, fear, and insecurity. It's the sanctuary that provides us solace, comfort, and peace. It's the oasis that our thirst for acceptance, approval, and affirmation. It's the lifeline that keeps us afloat in the tumultuous sea of life. The third test is the ability to confront one's own fears and desires. It's about acknowledging our deepest fears, our darkest desires, and our most profound anxieties. It's about standing face to face with our inner demons, our hidden phobias, and our suppressed desires. It's about confronting the mirror effect, where the fears and desires are echoed, amplified, and reflected back at us. It's about overcoming our inhibitions, conquering our fears, and controlling our desires. It's about breaking the chains of fear, stepping out of the shadows of doubt, and stepping into the light of courage. This test is not just about confrontation, it's about transformation. It's about transforming our fears into strengths, our anxieties into aspirations, and our inhibitions into inspirations. About turning our deepest fears into our greatest achievements, our darkest desires into our brightest hopes, and our most profound anxieties into our highest ambitions. It's about rewriting our stories, reshaping our narratives, and redefining our identities. It's about reimagining our lives, reinventing ourselves, and realizing our potentials. Passing these tests is a crucial step towards the union of twin flames. It's the journey of awakening, the voyage of discovery, and the expedition of transformation. It's an adventure into the wilderness of the self, a trek into the mountains of the mind, and a dive into the ocean of the soul. It's the pursuit of purpose, the quest for meaning, and the search for fulfillment. It's the pathway to enlightenment, the gateway to self-actualization, and the key to the union of twin flames. The remaining tests include the separation phase, the runner and chaser dynamic, and the ultimate reunion. The separation phase is the first of these trials and arguably the toughest. Twin flames are, during this phase, distanced from each other. This could be a physical distance or an emotional one. The important aspect to note here is the detachment. More often than not, this separation is a rather painful process. It's like tearing apart two halves of a whole. However, as arduous as it might seem, it's a vital step that cannot be skipped. The separation phase is not without its purpose. It's a time for growth, for self-reflection, for personal development. Each of the twins is given space to explore their individuality, to nurture and uncover aspects of themselves that they might not have been aware of. It's a time to learn, to evolve, to prepare. It's like the quiet before the storm, the hush before the union. This phase is a challenge, a test of strength, a trial of patience. It shapes the twins, it molds them, and prepares for what's to come. Following this is the notorious runner and chaser dynamic. It's not something that can be easily explained or rationalized. It's a complex dance, a game of cat and mouse, where one twin is constantly retreating while the other persistently pursues. It's a twisted play of emotions, a roller coaster ride that makes the heart race and the mind whirl. It's a reflection of the intense between the twins, a manifestation of their unique bond. The relationship in this phase is sometimes tumultuous, sometimes tranquil, but always overwhelming. The runner and chaser dynamic is not just a chase. It's a voyage, a journey towards understanding. It's a pathway paved with a mix of emotions, fear, desire, confusion, longing, and more. It's a dance of love separation, a dance that draws the twins closer with each twirl, each step. It's a test of endurance, of perseverance, a test that measures the...
Hey, so you want to know where to invest $1,000 right now? Well, forget about stocks, forget about real estate.
the depth of their connection. Then comes the final phase, the ultimate reunion. It's the final test, the ultimate challenge, the moment of truth. This is where the paths of the twins finally converge, where their journeys finally meet. It's the climax, the culmination of all the trials and tribulations, the peak of the mountain they've been climbing. It's the moment where the twin flames merge back into one, where two halves become a whole. It's a beautiful moment, a moment that signifies triumph, a moment that embodies unity. It's not just a reunion, it's a homecoming. It's the realization of a shared destiny, the fulfillment of a divine plan. Passing these tests brings the twin flames closer to their union. It's a path filled with tests and trials, but in the end, it's all worth it. It's a journey that leads to self-discovery, to growth, to love, to union. It's a journey that ultimately leads to the twin flames becoming one. The twin flame journey is marked by a series of tests that lead to personal growth and self-discovery. This journey is not merely a voyage of love or romantic connection. It is a spiritual adventure that stretches the limits of the soul, paving the way towards a profound transformation and exploration of the self. It is a voyage into the inner chambers of the soul where one's deepest fears and desires are laid bare. The essence of this journey lies in the magnetism of two halves of the same soul encountering each other for the first time. This encounter, often described as a mirror effect, is not just a meeting of two individuals, but a deep, profound connection between two souls. The two halves are like mirrors, reflecting each other's desires, shadows, vulnerabilities, and strengths. This mirror effect creates an overwhelming sense of recognition, an unspoken understanding, and a feeling of completeness that is seldom experienced in other relationships. The twin flame journey is punctuated by 7 crucial tests. Each test is a milestone on the path of self-discovery and personal growth, revealing layers of the self that have been hidden or ignored. Every test is a stepping stone, leading the twin flames closer to their union and the realization of their shared destiny. The first test is the powerful connection. It is an intense, magnetic attraction that is felt instantly. It is a connection so strong that it can be overwhelming, leaving the twin flames in a state of awe and confusion. This connection goes beyond physical attraction or emotional compatibility. It's a soulful recognition, a feeling of coming home. However, this powerful connection is quickly followed by an inevitable separation, the second test. This period of separation is not a punishment, but a period of introspection and development. It is a time of self-discovery where each flame must learn to stand on their own, strengthening their own individuality before they can truly unite as dynamics of the runner and the chaser forms the subsequent test. It represents the push and pull dynamic that can often be seen in the early stages of a twin flame relationship. The runner, often overwhelmed by the intensity of the connection, tries to distance themselves, while the chaser, driven by the fear of losing their twin flame, pursues relentlessly. This dynamic highlights the fears and insecurities that can be induced by such a profound connection. The following tests revolve around deep introspection and the mirror effect. Each fear, desire, each hidden aspect of the self is revealed and echoed back. This process of mirroring leads to a deeper understanding of oneself, their insecurities, their strengths, and their potential. These tests are not easy. They are arduous, demanding, and sometimes even heartbreaking. They challenge each flame to confront their shadows, to embrace their desires, to reconcile with their past, and to grow beyond their limitations. However, they are necessary. They are the stepping stones that lead to the ultimate union of the twin flames. And with the successful completion of these tests, the twin flames can finally unite. This union is not just a coming together of two individuals, but a merging of two souls. This union mirrors their desires and shadows, reflecting the completion of their individual and collective journeys. It signifies the beginning of a new chapter where they can walk together towards their ultimate destiny. The twin flame journey is a remarkable path of self-discovery, personal growth, and profound love. It is an overwhelming sense of recognition and completeness. The twin flame journey is not for the faint-hearted, but for those who are willing to face their shadows, embrace their desires, and grow beyond their limitations. And with the successful completion of these tests, twin flames can finally unite in a bond that mirrors their desires and shadows, bringing them closer to their ultimate destiny.
What up, guys? Welcome to my channel. My name is Kelly Chipmunk Kelly, here with the General Collective reading. Yo, listen, if you found this video, I'm sure there's a message in it for you, but only take what resonates with your soul, okay? Let's go ahead and get into it. What is it that Spirit wants you to know right now? The person that is on your mind. The person that is on your mind. What is the overall energy? We got remorseful. Okie dokie. It's one of the lowest vibrational things that you could be feeling. Remorse, shame, guilt. What else is going on? And again, no matter what energy comes out in the reading, please use your discernment. And we got a nothing. We got soulmate on the bottom. Yes, this is your soulmate. So some of you may be feeling, you know, like connected to this person, could be feeling like they're your soulmate again. That's the part. Take that as that resonates with you, for you. Okie dokie. You've learned the spiritual lesson. Definitely could be very tested within this connection. Tested more than any other connection with this person. We got the timing is not quite right, along with this person is unable to give you everything that you deserve. And then vulnerability is in reverse. So maybe they're holding out on being vulnerable, not wanting to be vulnerable. It's all about choosing you, yeah? Choosing you, okay? All right, we got the runner, we got Cupid's arrow. So some of you with the runner card coming out could be dealing with that otherworldly connection. But I'm so happy that's in reverse on the bottom. So happy that's in reverse on the bottom. For those of you that are new, I'm also experiencing some kind of interesting journey. So Cupid's arrow, have faith, love is coming. Surprise invitation or meeting. The runner in codependent relationship, fear of intimacy, listening to their ego and talking, interested, conversing more. Awaited message arrives, a text, a call, an email. Some of you, communication is coming in for this runner. I've used this analogy before about, you know, it's not even an analogy, running into the woods, and they're just running. They're running based on their pride, based on so many things when it comes to that twin flame connection. Some of you may be experiencing it. Some of you may not be experiencing it. And eventually they stop. They stop running. They come back out. They come back out of the forest and face their fears. One of the fears could be talking to you. As I'm saying that, eye is drawn to the talking card. Afraid. They've been afraid of talking to you. All right. My love for you is written in the stars. There's a spark between the two of you that is undeniable to this person. And interesting, in the background, I mean, I guess he could be in the forest. If that is even a he, could be in the forest. Feeling like you're a miracle that dropped into their life and lit them from within, almost sort of like that King of Wands energy, just like sparked by you. We're destined to be together from many lifetimes. So your person definitely could also be feeling this very intense connection to you. And again, that otherworldly connection, the twin flame connection, they will run like their asses on fire. They will run. Look up at the stars tonight and know that I'm under the same sky thinking about you. We are destined to be together. We don't need to rush this love. Our love is eternal. Your love is eternal. Yo, you can't do anything to fuck this shit up with your person. Speak your truth. Say what you need to say. All right, and that one, see how it just slipped out right there? Why does it gotta be afraid? So we've got afraid. Like I said, that fear. Fear of this connection, fear of you, fear of themselves. Yeah, because this person doesn't want to let you down. You know, they may feel like you see them in this very bright light, and maybe they don't feel like it should be that bright. Maybe you don't fully know them, or you need to get to know them again. Not wanting to disappoint you, so they're avoiding you. But they're needing to overcome this. And I do feel like with the Cupid's arrow, the runner, and the talking, those three cards together, I feel like this person is getting it. They're starting to get it. You could say awakening. Their awareness is being heightened when it comes to this connection. Overcoming themselves before coming forward, overcoming their fears. For some of them, specifically some of the traumas, needing to heal, needing to get out of their ego when it comes to you, and you just mean everything to this person. Absolutely everything to this person. I feel like there's a lot that revolves around you. And again, they keep you on their mind. You're always in the back of their mind. When this person has to make some type of decision, or there's something that's coming through that it's like they're not moving very quickly. They could be dreaming of you. So what is it that they are sorry for? Because that remorseful, I mean, I guess it's not sorry, but there's something that they've done that they feel really bad about. Unexpected, the answers you seek are coming. When the answers arrive, it might be too late, or you have moved on. Maybe some of you have moved on, and they see that you're moving on. They see that you're blossoming. They see just this beautiful, beautiful person. I know some of you are men watching, some of you are women. They see all of you, dude. Seeing all of you. We've got breaking free. They're freeing themselves from their self-imposed prison, basically their mind, their ego, leaving behind all that has kept them from you. Themselves, putting that right next to the runner card. Again, I feel like for some of you, your person, even if there is not full-on union, there's going to be some type of communication. You're going to see them. That would be reunion, okay? A reunion. Why talk when you can stalk? Okay, definitely looking you up. They could also be looking up those other connections, looking you up, you know, sort of being incognito, specifically the word incognito. I feel like they don't want you to know that they are looking you up. Again, take it as it resonates, because some of you, you know, you may not have social media, or you may not post on social media, or, you know, whatever. The time spent in separation is giving them a chance to figure out themselves. Again, Forrest Gump running into the woods, okay? Finally stops, has some type of epiphany, some type of awareness, some type of breakthrough. All the time when I say that the silence is working miracles, you have to trust in that. I get it. Even as I'm saying it, I'm like, oh, it's been so long. Like, how can I trust? You're questioning yourself. You're questioning this connection. And they want to be more solid before they do come in. Divine Feminine knows that they are the one. You know that this person is the one. You feel it. You have to trust your intuition. You feel it, and they know when it's time. It ain't my fault. Oh, it ain't my fault. Oh, shit. As we're saying that, and that weight card, the timing is not quite right. Right in the middle, okay? Right in the middle, but there's also something that's going to be unexpected, because then I have the unexpected card right underneath it. So something is coming through, divinely guided. You have met your divine flame. divine counterpart, otherworldly connection, whatever the fuck they are, twin flame, however you want to label it, okay? Some of you really need to embrace trusting your intuition. Just follow the signs to your soul and everything will occur in divine timing. I'm going to take a second. I'm feeling guided to pull from this angel deck just to see if there's any messages. We've got 1441 on the bottom. Look it up if you're seeing 1441. If you're seeing any of these numbers that come out, look them up. The angel, depending on what website you look on, they're all going to have a different interpretation. 3 for the Holy Trinity. All right, we got 1515, the big break. An opportunity, help, extra cash, or other support is coming your way. So keep going and have fun when performing your tasks. The most tremendous success comes from passion. All efforts will be rewarded big time. Big time. And I feel like big time should be in caps. Again, unexpected, the big break, a breakthrough. We got 666, reflect. You can't make this fucking shit up. Several unexpected developments will enter your life and impact how you feel. This is a chance to reevaluate your identity. You need a mental shift toward greater optimism, self-assurance, and trust. Thank you, Spirit. Sometimes I sit down and I do these readings and I'm just like, let's play connect the dots. That's what Spirit, like, let's play connect the dots. As I'm saying, everything is divinely guided. Everything is divinely guided. Something unexpected. Put your faith in your gut. Dude. Ugh. I would throw these cards down, but I don't want to have to pick them up, okay? Mic drop. Mic drop on the 666. Dude, put your faith in your gut, your intuition, hello, and your inner voice. Pay attention to your feelings and use them to help you become a better person. Yo, hello. Hello. Listen to Linda in the back. The Linda in the back. All right. Anything else? You cannot make this shit up. We've got feminine forces, 2222. You could be seeing variations of 2, 999, 9, 4 nines. I know 3 nines. We're looking at like completion. Okay. All right. So feminine forces, relationships, balance, prosperity. You can do everything by yourself, but life is to be shared. Partner up with the right spirit and you'll become a force. Honor commitments and people around. Don't judge, listen. And then the 99, okay, lessons learned. Oh, shit, completion. Take stock of your accomplishments and how you arrived at them. Some of you are not giving yourself enough credit. Some of you don't shoot the messenger. You're so focused on your person that you're not energetically. Take that shit back. Pour it back into you. This is a reminder to maintain optimism again and drive towards your goals. Maintain your momentum and know that the powers of heaven have your back. You made it and the reward goes to you. Yo. I love that at the end. You see the little yo? The reward goes to you. This shit is not fucking easy, okay? For those of you that feel like you're dealing with a twin flame, there are people out there like seeking this out. I'm so fucking blessed, but there's still a part of me, and of course it's the fucking ego where I'm like, I wish none of this shit happened. I wish that I did not meet him. This is one of the testiest, it's not even a fucking word, it's not tastiest, okay, it's testiest situations, encounters that you can go through. Now, if you have met your person, we signed up for this. They will trigger you to no end. And you also trigger them as well. You know, they could be trying to do whatever they can to not feel, to run away, to avoid all of these things, but eventually they have to stop. They have to stop. What else? We've got plotting. They're stepping up their game to get your attention because they know you have plenty of other options. And how suiting, I'm putting that on the investigating card. So whether or not you have other options, you know, whatever it is that they're seeing, whatever it is that they may even be feeling, this person intuitively may be kind of tapping into that feeling. Maybe you've disappeared, you're not reaching out to them, wondering what's going on with you, just assuming that maybe you're dealing with somebody else, needing to plan something. Why is there so much fear? There's so much fear-based energy here, and really feeling it in that way, that could be your energy as well. It could be both of your energies. They're afraid to, you know, come in to something that they don't really know. You know, if they're doing like looking up different types of connections, just like, what the fuck, right? But they see your abundance. They see what you can bring into the connection. They see what you could bring into their life, but some of them are fearing that they could be wrong. With that, if you're specifically feeling fear that it's never going to happen, the union's never going to happen, you're never going to be with your person, maybe, you know, some of you are like, we're never going to talk again. Try your best to release those fears. That could be what's blocking this person from opening themselves up. Again, that vulnerability in reverse, I feel like they do want to be vulnerable with you. But maybe some of you are holding back as well and not wanting to be vulnerable with them for fear of being hurt. Yeah, dude, they're definitely looking shit up. They heard something or they saw something that like kind of just like clicked for them. Again, this feeling of looking stuff up. So for some of you, it may not be looking you up. It may be looking up like soulmate or twin flame or otherworldly connection, or maybe they're even Googling whatever the fuck they are. Yeah, they feel powerless when it comes to you. Absolutely powerless. Again, you are this person. You are everything to this person. And right now they're not showing it. And some of you, that's where you're being tested. That's where you're being, basically you're being not led in the dark, but it's like you're in the dark because some of you are looking for this confirmation from them. You're looking for them to tell you how it is that they're feeling. When it comes to your person, if they came in and they were like, Maria, I do feel connected to you. I know there's something beyond us that is going on, but I am not ready. I'm afraid. Would that help resolve maybe some of the anxiety that you're feeling about this connection, about not trusting yourself, about like, when is this going to happen? When is it going to happen? I know some of you, it's been years, some of you decades, some of you months, weeks, the lucky ones, okay? Don't worry, I ain't gonna say nothing, okay? You're the lucky ones. Waiting for it to happen. Listen, while you're waiting, focus on your healing. Focus on you. Focus on you. They cannot get you out of their head, dude. We've got fear again, but before fear, unfounded fear. Unfounded. They're making shit up in their head. Y'all could be mirroring if you're making shit up in your head too. Like, no, this is not my person. It's never going to happen. Dude, get out of your mind. Live from your soul. Live from your heart. You will feel it. You will just know. Like, you will feel them. Not your mind. The best way to do it, guys, meditate. 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, focus on meditating. And then as you're sitting there, peel back the layers of the ego and get to your soul. You will find them. I'm hearing, look into your heart and you will see what you mean to me. Some of you, I don't know who the fuck sings that. Look into your heart and you will see what you mean to me. Look that up if that resonates with you.
Look into my eyes, you will see what you mean to me. Such a heart, such a soul. And when you find me there, you'll search no more. Don't tell me it's not worth trying for. You can't tell me it's not worth dying for. You know it's true. Everything I do it for you.
They're afraid to trust and get hurt. The illusion is keeping them locked in anxiety. I do feel like some of you may resonate with this as your energy, unable to act on their love. Before I pull these out, I'm just going to put them to the side. See if there's anything else music-wise. That might be Bryan Adams. I don't know. Look into your heart and you will see what you mean to me. Haunted by You. We got, the song is Princess Diana, Ice Spice featuring Nicki Minaj, and it's Confident. Some of you do need to see how powerful you are. Maybe, you know, this connection has tested some of your limits where you just feel like you've been stopped cold and you don't know how to move it forward. You don't know how to let go of this person. Again, some of you need to review how you have been in other relationships, situations. Like, how do you normally act? You know, are you always looking people up, you know, like 25,000 times a day? Or is it just this person? Have you always felt connected? Did you find twin flames and now you're trying to fit someone, you know, into that little square box? The song is Unthinkable. Alicia Keys, No Contact. Interesting. The very first thing, I feel like no contact. For some of you that are going to get contact, the very first line, moment of honesty. Moment of vulnerability, moment of opening themselves up, cracking themselves open, right? Dude, get the fuck out of here, okay? The song is I'm Yours. The artist is Jason Mraz, Divine Union. Divine Union. All right. Back to the two cards that were here. They could be dreaming of you. Some of you could also be dreaming of your person. I feel like that came out in the reading I did fucking yesterday. Continuation, okay? They dream of how they broke your heart and moving on. You moving on with someone else. Dude, they're afraid of you moving on with someone else. They see, again, they see you. They see how powerful you are. Some of them may feel like you have them underneath some type of spell, some type of love spell. Like, why can I not stop thinking about this person? Some of them may feel kind of fucking crazy. Feeling like you have them under some type of spell, a love spell. That's how the ego works, right? You know, they could be looking up twin flame, soulmate. They could be looking up all of these things and they're like, no, that doesn't make sense. Okay, what does make sense is they're sitting there and they're poking shit and they got the candles and they're burning it and, oh, come to me, come to me. Oh, shit. They can't make sense. They can't make sense of it. So they're really stretching. Okay, they're stretching. They're stretching themselves to figure out what this is. Okay, we've got journaling, creative release, keeping track of patterns, and exploring your feelings. So that was one card that had been pushed to the side from this deck. Again, with the journaling, I feel like there is, again, going to be some type of communication coming in. This person, you know, looking up different labels, really on their own time and in this separation, paying attention to how they're feeling, paying attention to the things that are coming up for them. For some of them, they could be seeing these signs as well. They could be seeing signs. All right. And the more that you focus on your healing, the more that you're staying in your fucking lane. Because listen, the Empress, you're just cruising down the highway in her own lane. She ain't worried about the Emperor. She ain't worried about no knights, no kings, no pages. No, she don't give a fuck. Completely focused on herself. Focused on herself, knowing that she is going to attract what is meant for her. Yeah, okay, so because of this draw to you, just feeling drawn to you, that's why some of them feel like maybe you put some kind of spell on them. Your intuition as well. You may not feel like you're on point, but there are some things that you have known or maybe even called out with your person that made them feel like, oh shit, like you are really tapped in. Some of you are not giving yourself credit. You're not trusting yourself. You're watching readers like me. I mean, I appreciate it, okay? But you're looking for that external confirmation. And there's nothing wrong with it, but everything that you need, where was that card? That everything that you seek can be found within yourself. I don't want to mess it up because then I'm not going to know what the order that came out, but there was a card earlier that said that when you're looking in yourself, all of the answers that you have been seeking will be found. They are coming. Something unexpected is coming. For some of you, again, remaining positive. Do your fucking thing. Do whatever it is. Follow your inner child. Today it's raining. We can't go no park. Where else could we go? I don't know. We're doing something. We're doing something. Follow your passion, follow your heart. The more that you're aligned, the more this love can come in. The more you're in your ego thinking about where are they at, who are they with, when are they coming back, all of that, that could be blocking this from coming. That could be blocking, it could be delaying it. What makes you happy? We have no fucking idea. Nobody can tell you whenever union is gonna happen. I fucking wish. It's the time for us to focus on ourselves and to heal ourselves and to just be the best that we can be for ourselves. And as we are aligned, as we are walking our path, and as we are holding strong, keeping the faith, having trust that everything is always working out, we literally, at a vibration, bring that in. We attract this person. We attract other people. For some of you that really would like new love, I get it. People are talking. Protect your reputation. Other opinions affect you. We've got gossip on the bottom. Yeah, maybe your person's talking about how they feel, about some kind of spell shit. Because as I'm putting it down, just coming right over back to this witch. Oh, shit, they can't make sense of it. They cannot make sense of it. I do feel like they are talking about that. They may not be talking about specifically the title, the label, the whatever of the connection, but like they're feeling like maybe you did something to them, okay? And that is in reverse. We've got unavailable again, okay? Unavailable, 2 different decks. Struggling with intimacy, emotionally aloof, dating other people. Again, that's not going to resonate for all of you, so please don't ask. Kelly is my person dealing with another person. And can I just say, even if they are dealing with somebody else, dude, that's their monkey, that's their circus. Let them do it. Let them do it. There's a huge difference between feminine and masculine energy, and we all embody both of those energies. But the feminine, we just know. We know we are the trailblazers. We are awakened, to this connection, and nothing else could compare or would do. Not to say that we're not open to other avenues of love, but we've got our mind made up. We already know what it is we want, so we don't really feel like we need to explore other options, because we know, again, feminine knows they are the one. We know they are the one. You wake up now, wake up. They know when it's time. They know when it's time. Time to communicate, time to come back, time to get this shit on and fucking popping. Sorry. It's the divine truth. I love it. I love it, okay? I'm actually just going to take this half that I pulled and just see. We've got untrustworthy. What are you looking at? I've made mistakes and lied in the past. Will you ever trust me again? So that remorseful card that came out, for some of you, that's what it's about. Feeling like they've lost your trust. Again, you being the witch that they think you are, they feel like like maybe they feel like you know too much. Playing Jenga, speak up. I'm not letting you go, and you will hear from me very soon. Don't give up on me. Listen, that's beautiful. Don't give up on me. I'm coming back. There's been a lot of other cards coming out, communications coming, all this stuff. I don't give a fuck. Don't get caught up in that. Keep healing. It's like a fucking race, okay? Who can heal the most before you come back into union? Who can do it, okay? Like, focus on you. The triggers that you're feeling with your person not talking to you, not seeing you, maybe not giving you verbal confirmation of how they are feeling, use that. Use that. That fucking trigger, dude, dig deep. Get to the root of that trigger. It's not because of your person. They are not the root of that trigger. They're just shining a light on it. Like, hello, I'm going to abandon you. And you feel it so deeply. Get to that root and try to the best that you can. For some of you, you can seek, outside sources, to help you get to that healing. Dude, there is a reason that we are here. How do you treat people? From the homeless person hanging out on the side of the street asking for money to your boss. Treating everybody with respect, with understanding. You don't know how you affect people. You have no fucking idea. There are a million different perceptions and interpretations of you based on your interactions with other people. Some people that you didn't even speak one word to, you just walked past in a hallway or at a store, or we are all energetically connected. I implore you, I encourage you guys to get out there and shine your fucking light. Focus on that. There's a reason that you are alive. There's a reason that you're breathing right now. You have purpose. This connection could have completely just woken you up. Who knows about the timing? Again, we know that they're the one and they know when it's time. I have no fucking idea. Let's just focus on being beautiful to everybody. I'm hearing, don't you want me, baby? Don't you want... You cannot make this fucking shit up.
In a cocktail bar when I met you, I picked you out, I shook you up and turned you around, turned you into someone new. Now 5 years later on, you've got the world at your feet. Success has been so easy for you, but don't forget it's me who put you where you are now, and I can put you back down too. Don't you want me? You know I can't believe it when I hear that you won't see me. Don't you want me? You know I don't believe you when you say that you don't need me. It's what you're left to find. You think you change your mind? You better change it back or we will both be sorry. Don't you want me, baby? Don't you want me? Oh, don't you want me, baby? Don't you want me? Oh.
I was working as a waitress in a cocktail bar. That much is true. But even then I knew I'd find a much better place, either with or without you. The 5 years we've had have been such good times. I still love you, but now I think it's time I live my life on my own. I guess it's just what I must do.
Don't you want me? You know I can't believe it when I hear that you won't see me. Don't you want me? You know I don't believe you when you say that you don't need me. It's what you're left to find. You think you've changed your mind? You better change it back or we will both be sorry. Don't you want me, baby? Don't you want me? Oh. Don't you want me, baby? Don't you want me? Oh. Don't you want me, baby? Don't you want me? Don't you want me, baby? Don't you want me?
Okay? For some of you, specifically, that song, look it up, the lyrics. Don't you want me, baby? Don't you want me? Oh. You cannot make... like, what the fuck, okay? I can't make this shit up. Some people don't want to see us together, but I don't care. Y'all don't give a fuck. All right, I'm situating this karmic situation. Again, karmic, external factor. For some of you, it means some type of love interest. They're dating, they're seeing, they're married to, whatever it is. External factor, okay? Influencing this connection, affecting this connection. I really do miss you a lot. You know, I feel like maybe this person, because they feel like you have them under some type of spell that, you know, maybe who they've talked to or they've communicated with is someone who knows how to do that back. Like, maybe it's just weird. I definitely feeling like you've done something to them, and it could be because they're not resonating with these types of connections. I mean, you could even be dealing with someone who just doesn't even believe in, you know, past lives or future lives or anything like that. They just believe that we're here now and, you know, sorry, I don't know if I showed that. I really do miss you a lot. All right, and I want to reconcile with you, but in reverse. So again, the timing right now is not right, but there's something unexpected, okay, a huge shift. Something is going to happen. Oh shit, you see that one that did a little flippy flip? I love you. We've got to hold back because I don't want to be rejected. Again, that fear. For some of them, it's been so long, they're just like, fuck, it's been so long. The thought of explaining myself and apologizing scares me. I don't want to see the pain I've caused in your eyes. And the one on the bottom. Cannot make this fucking shit up, dude. Hey, psst, psst. For those of you that are not looking at the camera, look at the camera, okay? Because I'm not gonna say that connection again, okay? I've reached my limit, okay? And again, so songs that they're hearing, pay attention to your songs. I'm speaking through songs. I want to dedicate a song to you. The 2 songs and then the other songs that came out, look those up. For some of you, this is important for you to trust your intuition, because some of you are receiving songs and you think you're just making it up.
Everybody needs a little time away, I heard her say, from each other. Even lovers need a holiday, far away from each other. Hold me now. It's hard for me to say I'm sorry. I just want you to stay. After all that we've been through, I will make it up to you. I promise to. And after all that's been said and done, you're just a part of me I can't let go.
You think, oh, okay, I heard that song there, that's why it's coming up. Trust your intuition, especially if they are your person, okay? If it is that otherworldly connection, dude, what resonates with me, yes, lots of communication in dreams, connecting in the 5D, okay? Vivid dreams, dreaming of each other, and also through music. Shit, look at the song that I had no idea. It ended up being Journey the Search is Over. For some of you, look up the lyrics to that song. I can't remember what part of the song I remembered, but I was asking all sorts of people, like, what the fuck is this song? And I could not find it. And when I read the lyrics, I was just like, holy shit, the very first thing, how can I convince you that what you feel is real? And basically the song is about someone who's just been searching all over for love and for what this woman had to offer. And like, it had fate, and I was like, oh my God, like, what the fuck? So pay attention to your music. Angel running down the hall, confirmation right there. Oh, big stompy boy. Oh, big stompy boy. Oh, sorry. I thought about surprising you with a date. Again, something unexpected coming in on the bottom. I'm done running from this connection, but it's in reverse. Divine timing, dude. Divine timing, guys. Listen, Linda. Listen, fucking Linda. Linda, listen to me now, okay? I'm gonna leave this reading here. I'm not taking it to an extended. Sorry, guys, okay?
Loving can hurt. Loving can hurt sometimes, but it's the only thing that I know. When it gets hard, you know it can get hard sometimes. It is the only thing that makes us feel alive. We keep this love in a photograph. We make these memories for ourselves, where our eyes are never closing, our hearts are never broken, and time's forever frozen still. So you can keep me inside the pocket of your ripped jeans, holding me closer till our eyes meet. You won't ever be alone. Wait for me to come home. Loving can heal. Loving can mend your soul. And it's the only thing that I know. I swear it will get easier. Remember that with every piece of you. And it's the only thing we take with us when we die. We'll keep this love in a photograph. We made these memories for ourselves, where our eyes are never closing, our hearts were never broken, time's forever frozen still. So you can keep me inside the pocket of your ripped jeans, holding me closer till our eyes meet. You won't ever be alone. And if you hurt me, that's okay, baby. Only words bleed inside these pages. You just hold me, and I won't ever let you go. Wait for me to come home. Wait for me to come home.
I've noticed a disturbing trend lately on how avoidants express love. You see, every single one of them plays the same 5 games. And their goal is comically simple. They want you to leave them, or for you to give them an excuse so that they can leave you. Let's start with game number 1. They make time for you despite keeping you at a distance. Now, I've made no secret my extreme hatred for how the dating/relationship advice industry works and operates, which I guess is a little ironic since I'm sort of a part of it. Anyways, my argument is simple. Articles like this, which are approved by licensed psychologists, usually fall short. And I think it's because they lack the actual human experience to back up many of the points that they're making. It's not that the advice is wrong. It's not. It's likely spot on. I don't know. It's kind of hollow. Like it was written to fill a quota instead of expanding your mind. Anyways, when I was researching for this particular video, I stumbled across this really interesting Reddit thread in which someone asks, avoidance, what does it look like when you like someone? Jackpot. Here we have real responses from individuals who are actually avoidants. Actual human experience. And the top comment yielded gold. They go on to give some generic, obvious things that everyone knows about avoidance. But here, well, this is where the really interesting stuff happens. They say that when they really like someone, they consistently make time for them. Now, obviously, that time may not be full of affection or the person may play it cool, but they are consistent with that time. Let's pull out my favorite book, Attached, to back this up. On page 115, the authors make a really interesting statement. They say, together but apart, the compromise that satisfies no one. Now, on the surface, an avoidant spending time with you may not seem like a game. It may seem like a simple obligation. But therein lies its brilliance. Avoidants are trying to do the bare minimum to show their love, while also doing whatever they can to hold on to their independence. Now, further down on page 115, the authors give multiple examples of what this looks like. They range from feeling like there's always an underlying dissatisfaction, to reminiscing about the freedom that they used to enjoy, to coming up with an impossible to fill list for a partner, to thinking they are trapped. The point is, them spending time with you isn't the same thing as them spending quality time with you. And that leads us pretty seamlessly into game number 2. They rarely initiate contact. And one of the biggest misconceptions that people tend to have about the avoidant attachment style is that there is no connection to anxiety. This is something that Dr. John Paul Garrison debunked in my interview with him.
When you think about avoidant is anxiety, really, because anxiety is built around the concept of avoidance. We can't be anxious and not avoid. It just comes with the territory.
It's best to think of the avoidant attachment style or avoidant behavior as a coping mechanism for how you deal with anxiety, or how that specific individual will deal with anxiety. In many ways, avoidants are control freaks. Not having control over certain aspects of their relationship in their mind threatens their independence. And one way they can exert control is by rarely initiating contact. I want to tell you a story now. I am a dismissive avoidant. As you can see here from this test that I took back in 2020, came back as a dismissive avoidant. Anyways, when my wife and I were in the talking stage before we actually dated, I got it in my head that I was not going to reach out to her first. Like, ever. See, I wasn't making any move until I was sure I wouldn't get rejected. So I literally had a binder like this that I would chart our texting conversations in. I always made sure she reached out first. I always made sure her text ratio was equal to or even greater than mine. And for me, this was reassurance, a way of maintaining some semblance of control over the situation, a way of hedging my bets. It's a very avoidant way of thinking. What you may find, though, is that if you let an avoidant stew in silence long enough, they may try to reach out to you first, especially if they feel like they're losing that connection. Yet, if you respond positively, their cup gets filled, and then they go right back to making you reach out first. And that leads us to game number 3. They try to keep their cool even though they're terrified of rejection. Okay, so I want to clear something up. Most people associate the word avoidant primarily with dismissive avoidant, but this is a bit like assuming every dog you meet is a Labrador. Now, just as Labradors represent one breed among many in a diverse canine world, dismissive avoidants are only one type within the broader spectrum of avoidant attachment styles. You also have fearful avoidant attachment styles. And in order to understand this game, that's particularly relevant. Look at this. This is another comment I found on that Reddit thread. This person says, I'm FA, can lean AP with strong DAs. Basically, fearful avoidant, anxious preoccupied, dismissive avoidant. Anyways, but even then, I'm push-pull. I'm terrified of rejection, so I'm hypervigilant. Insanely so. When I care, I try to be cool about it. When I care, I try to be cool about it. A few videos ago, I talked about this idea of Carl Jung's concept of the facade, a social mask that people wear to present themselves to the world in a way that is socially acceptable and aligns with societal expectations, while also concealing their inner selves, their true selves. Literally what this person is describing is the facade. But one of the interesting aspects of the facade that I always think about is how long someone can hold it up before the cracks begin to form. Look at that Reddit comment again. This person is literally telling us that they're terrified of rejection, that they're hypervigilant. We can infer that because they've likely scared potential suitors away or relationships because of their constant need for reassurance. But they're aware of that fact, so they try to conceal it underneath the facade in an effort to be cool about it, to use their own words. But here's the thing about the facade. It can be maintained for an extended period, but it's likely to crack eventually under the weight of sustained stress, significant life changes, or a growing disconnect between the individual's true self and the persona that they're presenting to the world. And that's the game. When an avoidant, or a fearful avoidant for that matter, truly loves you, they hide every negative aspect of themselves for fear of losing you. But it takes a toll on them, holding that mask, holding that facade, and they may even grow to resent you for it. It's actually a fascinating psychology. I mean, on the one hand, they're desperate not to lose you, which leads them to craft the facade, which is likely the result of an anxious coping mechanism. And then on the other hand, they resent you for the fact that they even had to craft the facade, which is likely a result of their avoidant coping mechanism. And that internal battle, that internal paradox that cracks the facade from within. And it ultimately ends up with them being alone, or in this perpetual cycle of on-again, off-again relationships. Let's move on to talk about the fourth game. They will hold back I love yous until they are sure it will be reciprocated. This Reddit comment struck me as particularly interesting. I'm a dismissive avoidant, and I have no problem saying I love you or I like you if I perceive it will be reciprocated. I love you is just the kind of thing that I'm less likely to toss out flippantly. There's two parts that I found really interesting in that statement. The phrase, if I perceive it will be reciprocated. Dismissive avoidants like to hedge their bets. In fact, to prove this, I'd like to point out an alarming trend that we've noticed in our community. A bit of context, most of our clients believe that their exes or their significant others are dismissive avoidant. And we often see comments like this. They were the one who initiated contact both times and said she wants to be friends and missed me being around. This turned into a kind of situationship where I was there physically and mentally for her. It has since devolved into her talking to another guy from a different college a couple of hours away. Here's the trend. They basically set up their next relationship while they're still in a relationship with you, unbeknownst. Now, in the case of this client, it happened while they were in a situationship, but it can happen in real relationships as well. So why are they doing this? Well, as weird as this sounds, avoidants are terrified of rejection. They've learned, and we're going to talk about this in depth in a moment, that by being alone, they can ward off rejection and pain. So to overextend themselves, to say, I love you, and soon getting rejected after that, well, it's out of the question. They therefore compensate by guaranteeing their success by setting up another relationship. In the loose stages, they're not actually cheating on you, but setting that other relationship up so that they are not going to get rejected. Now, if they're willing to do that with a relationship, why wouldn't they be willing to do the same thing on a smaller level with something as simple as I miss yous, or I love yous, or terms of affection like that? I'd like to draw your attention back to that Reddit comment. It's this bit here that's of particular interest. I love you is the kind of thing I'm less likely to toss out flippantly. And in order to hedge their bets, they've got a checklist. As you can see here, this is what is required for this particular avoidant to say, I love you. Their checklist is they would take a bullet for this person, or help them move a dead body, or they'd be willing to gamble half of everything their own. If someone meets that criteria, only then will they say, I love you. I mean, this is a very serious criteria in this checklist. And I think that's part of the point. They want to make that checklist so difficult that hardly anyone can pass it. To quote Attached, it's just a deactivation strategy designed to squelch intimacy.
Now and then I think of all the times you screwed me over, but in me believing it was always something that I'd done.
But every game we've talked about so far pales in comparison to this next one. Game number 5. They'll purposely put you in a harsh environment to see if you'll come out the other side still committed. Where do I begin? You're familiar with the concept of running the gauntlet. Basically, it's a form of corporal punishment in which the party judged guilty is forced to run between two rows of soldiers who strike out and attack them with sticks or other weapons. You make it out alive and it's all fine and dandy. You don't, and, well, we're just not going to talk about that. Avoidants will create their own gauntlet and run you through it for two very specific reasons. Reason number one is they almost want the relationship to fail to maintain their independence. You can even see that here in the Reddit comment that I showed earlier. In order for that person to say I love you, they'd have to take a bullet for the person, be willing to move a dead body for them, gamble half of everything they own. Which is kind of funny because that gamble everything that you own is technically like being married to the person. Anyways, this particular gauntlet is designed, in my opinion, very specifically to limit the amount of people that can make it through it alive. Let's go back to attached in that concept of deactivation strategies. The book gives a great list of some of the common ones to expect. Saying or thinking I'm not ready to commit, focusing on small imperfections, pining after an ex-girlfriend or boyfriend, flirting with others, not saying I love you, we covered that one already, pulling away when things are going well, forming relationships with impossible futures, checking out mentally, keeping secrets, leaving things foggy, avoiding physical closeness. Of course, I did say there were two reasons why they will run you through the gauntlet, didn't I? The second reason is that it's ingrained evolutionary behavior. Now, it's thought that the evolution of different attachment styles has served to enhance the survival prospects of humans. Basically, back in the day, it allowed us to adapt to the varying demands of our environments and survive. Now, historically, the secure attachment style has proved to be the most effective, particularly because our ancestors lived in tightly knit communities where cooperation significantly bolstered both individual and collective well-being. Yet, to adapt to a broad range of potential scenarios, including adverse conditions marked by famine, disease, or natural calamities, a diversification of survival strategies was deemed essential. Now, in these kind of harsh settings, the ability to be self-reliant was actually more crucial than relying on others. It allowed you better to compete over scarce resources. This, of course, led to a preference for an avoidant attachment style among certain population segments. Now, the vast majority of the world has different problems now than we did back then. However, what creates your attachment style is your relationship with your caregiver. Now, usually, someone who has a dismissive avoidant attachment style has a rocky childhood. The only way they know how to survive is in harsh environments. Now, what if, in an unconscious effort to ensure that their partner is capable of enduring adversity, someone with a dismissive avoidant attachment style creates a series of tests within the relationship? This hypothesis, and yes, this is a hypothesis, this may be purely off base. This hypothesis suggests that due to their rocky childhood and learned survival in harsh conditions, they might instinctively seek a partner who can navigate similarly through tough circumstances, while also providing them with the reassurance and love that they were denied as a child, which might be why they draw on so many anxious attachment styles. However, this strategy inadvertently becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy of isolation and emotional distance. By setting up an environment that mimics the instability that they're accustomed to, they not only test their partner's resilience, but they also reinforce their own need for independence. Yet, in doing so, they potentially sabotage the relationship's growth and their own chance at genuine connection, which perpetuates a cycle where the environment they create to ensure survival becomes paradoxically one that very few can thrive in. I may be wrong, but I don't know. I feel like there might be something to that. This is Sarah. Now, she got her avoidant ex back twice. And this was despite the fact that he said,
I don't love you anymore. You're just, like, you're too much. Like, we're never going to be together again. I heard all those things.
And again, he did this twice. I interviewed Sarah to learn exactly what traits her avoidant ex found attractive. And I learned that she unknowingly exhibited 6 specific characteristics that likely attracted her avoidant ex back to her. Now, Sarah started this journey trying and failing for months. Then she learned a fundamental secret about avoidance and did one thing that would change everything.
The biggest thing that helped was, honestly, it really was the best thing that I could have done.
Let's start first, though, at the beginning. Trait number 1, the unconscious draw to anxious partners.
Because my biggest thing is that I'm not a very mellow person. I'm very high strung. And so I actually go to a therapist to kind of help me like with my own problems, and he's working on his. So we're doing really, really well actually. Like, because I mean, I hate to say it, but I think the breakup was the best thing for us.
Now you're probably sitting here and thinking this is a really odd trait to start with. After all, don't avoidant hate high-strung or anxious people? Well, when I say that their relationship with anxious individuals is a love-hate relationship, I mean it literally. Look at this. This is an excerpt from an article from Psychology Today written by Stephanie A. Sarkis. She says that the attraction between these two attachment styles can stem from their unconscious desire to fulfill unmet emotional needs from childhood. Now, we know from attachment theory that typically from a young age, individuals who develop an avoidant attachment style often experience rejection of their emotional needs by caregivers. And this can manifest in various different ways, such as a parent dismissing a child's tears with remarks like, "Boys don't cry, man up," or it can be even more subtle by not responding adequately to the child's emotional expressions or sadness or need. Now, here's the wild part. According to the National Library of Medicine, genetic research indicates that up to 45% of the variability in anxious and 39% in avoidant adult attachment style can be explained by genetic causes. So while some avoidant attachment style can be chalked up to genetics, most avoidance in adults is the result of circumstance. I say this because a huge indicator of what your attachment style will be is going to be a result of your actual relationship with your caregiver. And part of why this is because the insecurely attached caregiver reinforces the wrong types of behavior. For example, a parent with an avoidant attachment style might give positive attention when their child is happy, but withdraw or try to change the child's mood during very vulnerable moments. Now, this avoidance stems from the parent's own internal discomfort with their own vulnerable emotions, which ultimately leads them to reject similar emotions in their child. As a result, the child learns to associate vulnerability and emotional needs with a negative response, like disgust. Now, this response becomes an unconscious part of their psyche, which leads them to feel a self-disgust whenever they start to experience their own vulnerabilities later in life. They are essentially conditioned to believe that showing vulnerability will lead to rejection or disgust, a belief that deeply influences their emotional interactions and attachment style, again, in adulthood. Yet, deep down, the avoidant knows that they're missing something. Let's go back once more to that Psychology Today article. An avoidant partner may seek the need for intimacy their partner possesses because they think they are missing out on a crucial part of intimate relationships. And they're kind of right. The avoidant is seeking what was denied them in childhood. But again, as the Psychology Today article points out, what each partner seeks can also cause their undoing. What attracts us to another person also tends to gnaw at us over time, which is why I say anxious and avoidant relationships is literally a love-hate relationship. The avoidant individual is unconsciously drawn to the anxious individual. And it's all because they know that the anxious individual has something that they're lacking. It's the intimacy that they were denied as a child by their caregivers. But the problem is that an avoidant person's conditioning never allows them to get close enough to experience true intimacy. Trait number 2, having a partner willing to respect independence.
I actually bought my first house at 20 all by myself. Luckily,
Props.
his name wasn't on it.
Yeah.
It was just me. But we bought a dog together and literally went the whole 9 yards. We've been together for 2.5 years. And all of a sudden, like, we just moved into this house like 3 months ago, and he's like, "I'm not happy, I'm leaving."
So the thing that really struck me about my interview with Sarah, she said that it was only after buying a house and moving in together that her avoidant ex freaked out. No, I've talked at length about this idea of insecure core wounds. The TLDR, though, is that every single insecure attachment has what I consider a core wound that triggers them. Now, a core wound is essentially something that will trigger an insecure attachment's core coping mechanisms. For an anxious person, it's the fear of being abandoned. For an avoidant person, it's the fear of losing independence. For a fearful avoidant person, they have both core wounds. But here's where some nuance comes into play with the core wound concept. Every single avoidant has a different threshold of what they're willing to endure before they get triggered. Look at this. This is a list of some of the most common trigger points that I can think of. Texting romantically, talking on the phone romantically, going on a date, asking to be official, getting a dog together, moving in together, getting engaged, getting married, buying a house, having children. Do you notice a trend here? They all revolve around commitment of some form, which is a direct assault on an avoidance core wound of losing their independence. So in Sarah's case, she got about right here before her ex gets triggered. This is her ex's threshold. Every avoidant has their trigger limit. For some, they can maybe make it to the having children phase before they get triggered. For others, they maybe get triggered when you ask them to be official in a relationship. Now, the obvious question here is when you look at this gigantic list, how the heck do you get through it all without triggering them? Well, I think that's answered by looking at the old parable of how you boil a frog. See, the story goes like this. If a chef puts a frog in boiling water, then the frog will detect the heat and immediately jump out of the pot. But if the chef puts the frog in the water that isn't boiling but slowly turns the heat up, the frog won't detect it and voila, you've got yourself a cooked frog. Just one problem. Scientifically, this isn't true. No matter what, the frog will jump out of the pot. But for the sake of this discussion, let's pretend that it is, because this concept works incredibly well on humans. The problem Sarah had with her avoidant was she moved through this list way too quickly. If she had just slowed down to convince her avoidant that he wasn't going to lose his independence, she might have seen better results. Trait number 3, avoidants want what they can't have.
You or whatever's going on, there's always still hope because let's face it, guys want what they can't have.
Now, in addition to interviewing Sarah, I also interviewed Dr. John Paul Garrison, who is a clinical and forensic psychologist based out of Georgia. He also runs the very popular YouTube channel Dr. G Explains, where he basically dissects the body language of all sorts of bad people. Anyways, he said something really interesting in our interview.
We may discuss this a little bit more as we go. When you think about avoidant is anxiety, really, because anxiety is built around the concept of avoidance. We can't be anxious and not avoid. It just comes with the territory.
So his argument, which I think is correct, is that avoidants have all these coping mechanisms in place to deal with anxiety. In fact, pretty much every insecure attachment style does. It's just that avoidants have all this machinery in place to keep people at an arm's length. They've basically built up this wall to keep people from getting close to them. And we've already talked a little bit about why that is. They're caregivers. But what Sarah hits on here, they want what they can't have, is a lot more profound than you might initially believe. Take a look at this. This is the book Attached's definition of the Phantom X. One of the consequences of devaluing your romantic relationship is that you often wake up long after the relationship has gone stale, having forgotten all the negative things that annoyed you about your partner, wondering what went wrong and reminiscing longingly about your long-lost love. We call this the Phantom X phenomenon. So let's play a little game. An avoidant is given two options: a relationship with a human being who wants a deeper commitment, or a fantasy with a human being they used to be with, but asks no deeper commitment of them. Which do they prefer? Obviously, they're going to prefer the fantasy. Not only is it unattainable, which helps them keep their independence, but this constant yearning for the Phantom X forms the foundation for the wall they're going to put up to guard their heart. It's all part of that coping strategy that Dr. Garrison mentioned. Trait number 4, the contrast effect.
I went out, bought new clothes. I actually dyed my hair, put in extensions, and he noticed me right off the bat because I was posting pictures. And that's when
so you're doing it on Facebook or social media or
Facebook,
things like that?
Instagram, Snapchat. I was posting this stuff all the time, and he was noticing it.
Now, Sarah hits on something here that isn't talked about a lot, and that is the contrast effect. Now, I see a lot of breakups in my line of work. And a lot of times you hear the same types of phrases being thrown around by exes as the cause of the breakup. Boring, too stable, complacent. Let me decode what's really happening here. Look at this. This is my stability and mystery scale. You see, we human beings are quite complicated individuals. On the one hand, we want stability, and on the other hand, we want mystery. Yet these two qualities are completely opposites from one another. What often happens in relationships is that at the beginning of a relationship, an avoidant falls in love with someone based on the stability and mystery ratio. For example, maybe you have a 60-40 ratio, 60% mystery and 40% stability. Another person they could fall for has a 50-50 ratio, 50% mystery and of course 50% stability. Whatever the ratio is doesn't really matter, because from what I've observed, the same phenomenon ultimately occurs. The fluid nature of the stability and mystery scale naturally causes the ratio to change over time. So maybe what started out as a 50-50 split slowly starts to tip in favor of stability, so that by the end of a relationship, things might look like this: 70% stability and 30% mystery. And the avoidant, when this happens internally, is going, wait, hold up here. This is not what I signed up for. This is not the person that I fell in love with. And this actually contributes to the avoidant's overall perception of you. And here's where we come back to that clip I played of Sarah. She says she went out and
Bought new clothes. I actually dyed my hair, put in extensions, and like he noticed me right off the bat because I was posting pictures.
bought new clothes, dyed her hair, put new extensions in. All of this creates a type of contrast. But as I was listening to her talk, an alarming thought came to mind. A few weeks ago, I filmed a video on narcissism. And in that video, I asked one simple question: are all avoidants narcissists? The answer, of course, was very nuanced, but here's where I landed. Grandiose narcissism will be a stronger predictor of the avoidant attachment dimension in relationship to vulnerable narcissism. Now, if you want to look at what the difference is between grandiose narcissism and vulnerable narcissism, I highly recommend you check out that video. But here's the important bit for this discussion. There is a definite link between narcissism and avoidant behavior. However, I would say that most avoidants aren't full-blown narcissists. Rather, they just exhibit some narcissistic traits. And one of those traits might actually explain what was happening to Sarah here. Okay, so check this out. This is the narcissistic abuse cycle. And as you can see, narcissistic relationships often follow a pattern of idealization followed by devaluation. This, of course, led Sarah's avoidant ex to eventually discard her. What I think happened here is that Sarah's transformation makes her appear new or improved, and her avoidant ex, who exhibits some narcissistic traits, might experience a rekindling of the idealization phase, seeing Sarah as desirable and perfect again, and that is why he's all of a sudden interested again. The contrast is so obvious that he's just pulled in like a moth to flame. Trait number 5. Competition.
I was posting this stuff all the time and he was noticing it. And it wasn't until I started hanging out with other guys and like actually attempting to date other people that I got a reaction from.
I also noticed Sarah said something particularly interesting about dating other people. She actually dated her avoidant ex's best friend before him.
His best friend was like...
Oh, he always had like a thing for you or something?
No, to be honest, I actually dated his best friend before.
Now, why does this work? Why do avoidants find this attractive? Well, I think it's the interplay between 3 things: safety and unavailability, fear of intimacy, and the challenge in competition. Let's tackle safety and unavailability first. Check this out. According to Free to Attach, avoidants are free to long for an ex once that person is unavailable, out of a relationship, and typically out of context, so they are untouched by the actual engagement and their deactivation systems aren't triggered. Gosh, I'm so tired of saying that. But it's true. For avoidant individuals, attraction to someone unavailable provides a safe distance. They're untouched by true intimacy. We actually covered this in that Phantom X phenomenon already. Anyway, since the person they're not attracted to isn't available anymore, there's this built-in barrier that prevents them from getting too close, which aligns with the avoidant's insatiable need to maintain distance. Now let's talk about fear of intimacy. Avoidant individuals obviously fear intimacy and the vulnerability that it brings. Being attracted to someone who is taken means there's less risk of a deep, intimate connection developing, which can feel safer for someone with an avoidant attachment style. It's all there in the machinery. Remember, you can explain most of an avoidance behavior by simply looking at their core wound, their insatiable need for independence, and their protection of that concept. Unconsciously, they are attracted to individuals for which they know the relationship is doomed. This keeps them safe. And then of course we have challenge and competition. Some avoidant individuals will be drawn to someone for the challenge of it, for the thrill of the chase. And it's even better if they're competing against someone. They see it more as a game of conquest rather than seeking a genuine connection. But why compete? Well, we kind of alluded to it already, the thrill of the chase. When I was in high school, I had a friend who was obsessed with the thrill of the chase. And quite frankly, he was a combination of the two worst factors you could imagine. He was avoidant and good looking, which means he unknowingly and maybe a little bit knowingly victimized girls. It was always the same pattern. He'd get obsessed with a girl, chase after them, win their hearts, bask in a mini honeymoon period, and then the moment that honeymoon period wore off, he'd drop the girl and move on to the next one. I never asked him why he was doing this, but I didn't have to. One day he just volunteered it. He said, and I quote, "There's nothing like that moment in time at the beginning of a relationship before it gets too serious." Now, I've often accused avoidance from jumping from one relationship to another simply for the honeymoon period, and it seems that was what my friend was doing as early as high school. But there's another layer here I haven't really covered. My friend would actually like it if we both liked the same girl. I didn't, of course, because the girls always chose him. But he reveled in it to the point that I wouldn't tell him when I'd like a girl. But this goes directly into that challenge and competition aspect. Trait number 6, space.
I don't know, the biggest thing that helped was honestly the no contact rule. It really was the best thing that I could have done.
From Sarah's lips to your ears. In my opinion, this is the one thing that she did that changed everything for her. She did a no contact rule. She gave her avoidant space. It seems so simple, right? Well, it's actually not. More on that in a moment. Now, this shouldn't come as a shock to anyone. I've made countless videos on this topic on my YouTube channel and kind of explained why avoidants find it so attractive. Ultimately, though, it boils down to one simple fact. The most common pairing we see is an anxious and an avoidant getting into a relationship together. Actually, wait a minute. Let's visualize this a little bit differently. Imagine you have two people in a relationship. One that's avoidant, one that's anxious. Now, each of these people has a battery. When the battery is full, they're feeling great. When it's low, they don't feel so great. So you have these two people in relationships, but what fills their batteries up are two different things. For the avoidant, they need space to recharge and feel that they still have their independence. For an anxious partner, they'd need reassurance to feel that they aren't going to be abandoned. Notice how each of these battery fill-ups have a lot to do with their core wounds. Anyways, at first, everything is great. The honeymoon period's going strong, the avoidant is giving some reassurance, the anxious person isn't being overbearing because they are getting reassurance. But just like I said earlier, once the honeymoon period wears off, that's when things begin to go downhill. The avoidant partner's battery begins to dissipate first. They usually start to nitpick at something the anxious person did. This causes the anxious partner's battery to begin to deplete, which in turn causes the anxious partner to naturally search for the one thing it knows is going to replenish their battery: reassurance. Of course, every time that the anxious person seeks reassurance, the avoidant person's battery depletes, so that in the end you have both partners with depleted batteries. Now let's compare that to what Sarah did. She labels herself as an anxious individual. You can see that here.
Because my biggest thing is that I'm not a very mellow person. I'm very high strung. And so I actually go to a therapist to kind of help me.
However, she goes against what her anxiety is telling her to do. She gives her avoidant ex space. This allows his battery to fill back up, which is why she starts getting these types of results.
Recently, that was when he was FaceTiming me. That was when my phone was constantly getting blown up. Second day, he called me 6 times. Literally called me 6 times, and I didn't answer anything. Left me voicemails. Pick up your phone. And
space is the single most important thing to give to an avoidant. It's the single most important thing that they think is attractive, and a lot of times they don't even know why it's attractive. But let's hold up for a moment here. I've just taken you through the 6 major traits that avoidants find attractive, but there's something really bothering me about this. Why are these people even worth attracting? After all, I did end up interviewing Sarah a second time. And guess what? This was after the avoidant ex that I interviewed her the first time on had broken up with her again. Of course, she moved on to someone else, which of course drove her avoidant ex even crazier, and he was begging for her back once more, but that's beside the point. Should you care about attracting these individuals? Or, as many people in the comments section of my YouTube channel say, should you avoid them like the plague? I think the most important question to answer here is why? Why do you want an avoidant ex back? Is it because you're afraid of being alone? Is it because you believe that the relationship can improve if you have a better understanding of what each person needs? To be honest with you, I'm not sure that I can give you any kind of answer in this video that is going to satisfy you. Here's what I'll say. The most important thing to give to an avoidant is space. But it's how you use that space, that time away, that matters most. What you should be doing is finding something that you care about just as much as the avoidant, so you can have your own contrast effect. So you can actually take off the rose-colored glasses and look at the avoidant and ask yourself, why? And it's in that frame of mind that you can actually make an educated decision.
For a while there it was rough, but lately I've been doing better than the last 4 cold Decembers I recall. And I see my family every month. I found a girl my parents love. She'll come and stay the night, and I think I might have it all. And I thank God every day for the girl He sent my way. But I know the things He gives me, He can take away. And I hold you every night, and that's a feeling I wanna get used to. But there's no man as terrified as the man who stands to lose you. Oh, I hope I don't lose you. Please stay. I want you, I need you, oh God. Don't take these beautiful things that I've got. Please stay. I want you, I need you, oh God. Don't take these beautiful things that I've got. I found my mind, I'm feeling sane. It's been a while, but I'm finding my faith. If everything's good and it's great, why do I sit and wait till it's gone? Oh, I tell you, I know I've got enough. I've got peace and I've got love, but I'm up at night thinking I just might lose it all. I want you, I need you, oh God. I need these beautiful things that I've got.
I never knew what a twin flame was. I have been with Chelsea for roughly 4.5 years. I didn't understand what it meant. I had heard it, but she never brought it up to me. She never explained what it was until really just kind of right after our longest separation. She said that we are twin flames, and I had heard the term. I didn't understand what it was, but I know and I knew that we had something much bigger than just your average love. I was married for 21 years. I had love for my first wife. The difference that I feel with Chelsea is I feel as if, and this is cliche, I know, but I kind of feel like we partially have some of the same soul. We share more than just love for one another, at least from my end. I have that the dichotomy between Chelsea and my first wife. I'm able to look at both of them, and it's very distinct. It's very clear to me what I have with Chelsea, and it's much, much different than my first marriage. When I started noticing this, just kind of the difference between how I felt with my first wife or past short relationships, and how I feel with Chelsea, it happened honestly pretty quick into our relationship. I realized that she held so much more space in my heart. She occupied my soul, really, in a good way. But also, with our disagreements and the fights that we would have during a good portion of our relationship, she also held a part of me that was very difficult, because nobody had ever had that control over me or made me feel and have love the way that she did in my heart. And so that's kind of initially when we started dating and getting to know one another, I knew that it was different. I knew that there was something massive that wasn't kind of anything I had ever experienced in my life. I knew that what we had was something beautiful and special and a little crazy, to be honest with you. It was a little nuts, because there's so many high emotions, and I think both of us just wanted so much to find happiness that we both tried to force it in different ways to meet our own agendas. And as we went through our last separation, which was roughly 6 months, that's kind of when I realized, okay, this is either going to be amazing for us, or it's going to hurt me probably for the rest of my life. I hoped that it would not be that case if we didn't reconcile and come back together, but that was definitely something lingering in my mind, that could potentially be something where I would forever miss her every day for the rest of my life. So over those 6 months, I had a lot of time to reflect, a lot of time alone with family, and I was able to really dig into how she and what we have, not knowing what a twin flame is. The most I knew of was kind of the soulmate deal, propaganda, if you will. That's really all I knew. So as I started to try to understand our relationship and understand the depth and the breadth of what we have, I knew it was something massive. I knew that it wasn't just a crush or a weird obsession. I knew that it was something that would either be extremely beautiful in my life or something that would affect me for the rest of my life, because I couldn't make the adjustments or be the person that could show up in the right way for her, if that makes sense. So at that point, when we were separated for 6 months, I went in and I really started doing my inner work. I decided that I had to find out for myself if I could be happy with myself without her. And that's when I began, and this has been happening for roughly 2 years, but I really started looking into self-improvement, to meditation, just to anything that could pull me out of the abyss and the depths that I was in, because potentially I wouldn't live with her or be with her for the rest of my life. So I really started putting my efforts into learning about myself, feeling the feelings that I was I was pushing out during our relationship. And as I did that, and as I wrapped my arms around the scary things, and I sat in the pain, I sat in the frustration, the sadness, and I just let it control me and overpower me. That surrender that I was going through was what liberated me in the end. And as I would sit there missing her, loving her, thinking about her, not being able to sleep, dreaming about her, as I was going through all that, that's when I started to come into into like, it was almost like a reflection of myself, where I could finally see myself clearly, and I could feel my feelings. As much pain as there was, I could feel them, and I could embrace them, and I could deal with them. And I found happiness, I found joy, and with that, there was joy, there was true happiness. But I had the biggest hole in my heart, because the one thing I was missing was her, and holding her hand, all those things that come along with just pieces that make the whole of the twin flame experience. And I've been married 21 years in my past. I have experienced that. I've experienced love. I can clearly tell you, without question, this is much bigger than love. This is twin flame. I hate the term. I hate saying it. Chelsea laughs at me, but it's just kind of cringy for me, as my daughter says. So it's definitely not something I like to say. But I know that she is my twin flame, and we have both surrendered to it. So over those 6 months of surrender and really looking inside myself and healing a lot of the parts of me that were drowning, when we did have the chance to come back together, and it wasn't intentionally, it was calm, and the energy was so much different than it had ever been, because for myself, I had made the necessary changes to bring the energy that was scattered all over the place back into my body. And at that point, when we first saw each other after 6 months, I felt her soul, and I know she felt my soul. We've talked about it a little bit, but it was just being in the same room. We felt each other because our energies were clear. They were in our body. She had done the work too. And so it was this beautiful experience of not even talking, but just being around one another in the same room. We were doing yoga at the same studio, and it was just beautiful and peaceful. So, I mean, this is just kind of my explanation of my side of how I never understood what the twin flame journey was, coming into union, all those, I call them propaganda words, because that's what I always thought that they were. But I know that it is really a thing, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody, because you're going to have to go through complete hell to actually get to a point where it's going to work for you and serve you in any positive way. So it's not something to go seek, I promise you, but it after all of the pain, after the time that we've been apart, we finally came back together, and it has been beautiful. It has been peaceful. The energy is so calm. It's like we were living in this red space for so long, and then as we came back together, it was just white, just like a clear and white, beautiful feeling, that we didn't feel any anxiety. There was no contention between us. It was just pure beauty. And that's how it's been. And so I just wanted to explain my side of how this experience has affected me, where I've been with it. And this is just a brief overview, but that's kind of the twin flame experience I've gone through. and it has sucked, for most of it, but it's really at a great place now, and we just have this whole different relationship. And so I'm putting this out just so people understand my side and what I've experienced through this. And I'm the luckiest guy in the world to have somebody like Chelsea. I love her beyond words. She is beautiful, smart, funny, and very ticklish. So anyways, see ya.
After receiving this message, I went to bed, and I had a dream that I was in heavenly places. Then a naked man approached me. I could not see his upper body at all, because he was clothed in light. The only thing that I could see was his lower legs. They were hairy. I was looking down at his legs. Then I saw my right leg begin to rub against his hairy left leg, and I giggled, saying, "This is gross. This is so gross." That was the end of the dream.
He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. Proverbs 18:22. That means when you find that woman of God, she is already a wife. She already knows how to be a wife. Isaiah 54 says, your maker is your husband. We are the church, the bride, and Jesus is the bridegroom. A woman of God who is ready to be found by her husband, right? It says he who finds a wife, not she who finds a husband. She understands how to be a wife because she's been trained to be a wife in her relationship with the Lord. In the morning, yeah, she may want to go on her phone straight away, but she knows that, I need to attend to my husband. I need to love on my husband. I need to cuddle with my husband. Why? Because in the morning, she's already been taught, I put the Lord first. I give him the first fruits, not only of my finances, but I give him the first fruits of my day. I give him the first bites. I don't give him the last crumbs. And this woman is going to know how to be led by you. Why? Because she's already being led by the Lord. She's going to submit to you as unto the Lord, right? The Bible says, wives, submit to your husbands as unto the Lord. So she's already submitting to the Lord's leadership. She may say, yeah, I would like to go on all these dating apps, but personally for me, I know that the Lord has told me to wait on my husband because he is going to do it in his timing, and I need to focus on his kingdom. I need to focus on this ministry he's given me. So I'm going to die to my own desires and trust his leadership. That woman knows how to be led, right? A woman of God who knows how to be a wife, who's already a wife to the Lord, she is a woman who is going to be faithful to you. Why? Because she's already faithful to the Lord. She knows to be faithful to the Lord. She has said, you know what, I want to forsake these sins because sin is cheating on God. I don't want to put anything before God. I don't want to run to any substance instead in place of God. And in the same way, she's going to say, I don't want to run to another man, even when things are hard. I'm not going to run to another man. I'm going to run to you. Because when things got hard in her walk with God, she was not running to a substance. She was not running to other things, but she was running to God. I was not ready to be found. I was fretting against the Lord. Lord, why don't you bring me the man of God that you have for me? Well, I needed to self-reflect and say, guess what? I am preventing him from finding me, right? Because I was not walking in the will of God. And many men, and I've said this before, but many men want a wife, but they're not ready to be a husband. They're not a husband. He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. So that means if you find her as a wife, she's only going to be interested in you because you're a husband. Wife material wants hubby material. So you have to be a man that, number one, you're being led by the Lord, because how can you lead her to the Lord if you're not being led by the Lord? Number two, you are a man who submits to the Lord, right? Because the Bible says, wives submit to your husbands, but it also says, husbands submit to your wives. You are a man who understands what role it is to be a bridegroom, to be a husband, because you are spending so much time with Jesus, and you are every day going from glory to glory, being more like him. And what does that look like? A husband, there's so much responsibility for a husband. To die to himself, right? Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. In the same way Jesus loved the church, loved us, and died for us, even though we were so ungrateful, so undeserving. That's how much you need to love your wife. And not just taking a bullet for her, dying every day to your own desires, dying every day to maybe, yeah, like I would like to go to the gym or whatever, I'd like to do this, but my wife needs me right now. I'm gonna spend time with her. I'm gonna die to my own, putting myself first. I'm gonna put her needs first. I'm gonna die to myself, my own right to be right in this argument, because I'm going to listen to her feelings, and then we can talk about it. You know, we can discuss, and then I'll bring up something, you know, that hurt my feelings, and we can talk through it. But let me put her first. You're gonna know, because you're spending time with Jesus. You're gonna know how to be a bridegroom. You're gonna know how to be a husband, because you're gonna learn from the best. He provides for his wife. He guides his wife, right? Jesus, the bridegroom with the bride. He provides for us. He guides us. He forgives us. He leads us in the right way. He comforts us. He encourages us. You know, right now in my pregnancy, it has been not an easy piece of cake for my husband, because I'm getting up 10 times a night to go to the bathroom. He's getting up too. You know, he can't sleep as well as I can either, because I'm waking him up. He could get grumpy, but he's patient. He understands that this is part of the pregnancy. Sometimes, you know, I'm grumpy, I'm in a bad mood because I'm really going through something, and I have the pregnancy hormones, and he's just very gentle and very quiet. And even though he doesn't deserve to be around a woman that's so grumpy, and the Lord has helped me tremendously with this because I prayed. Thank you, Jesus. But, you know, he's just very patient and very gentle, even though he's wrongfully suffering. And of course, the Lord always convicts me, and I have to come and say I'm sorry. But it's been lessening because I've been praying really hard about it. The point is, are you ready to die to yourself? Are you ready to provide, lead, guide? Are you ready to take on all that responsibility of having a wife? It's not easy. Are you ready? Are you faithful with your eyes to her right now? Are you praying for her right now? And that's the same thing for the girls. Does God see that you're a good steward of the son or daughter that he's going to give you to marry right now? Before you're even married, practice not looking at the opposite sex in a lustful way. Obviously, you should never do that. But not even looking. Just practice having your eyes on the Lord and focusing on his kingdom right now. Practice, you know, putting the Lord first, because if you put the Lord first, you're going to put your spouse first, right? After God, second to God. So my point is that to prepare to be a husband or wife, we have to have a healthy, good personal relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ. And if we're not walking in the will of God, if we're in disobedience to the Lord, if we're still watching porn and doing all these things and, you know, not fighting it, it's different, you know, if you're fighting it. But if you're willfully just living in rebellion, and you're complaining against the Lord for not bringing you the husband or wife, you're just delaying it. So, self-evaluate, focus on the Lord, seek the kingdom of God first, and all these things shall be added to you.